My Chemical Romance is easily one of the most, if not the most famous alternative rock or even emo band in existence, but despite their gothy aesthetic and stuff, they're no Marilyn Manson or Alice Cooper or any of the big shock rockers of yesteryear. That hasn't really stopped them from getting into a controversy as of late. So welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idol, and yeah, if you hadn't heard, My Chemical Romance fans threatened to sell tickets after on-stage weird demonic execution stunt. Now, alright. I'm gonna be real. I'm a music lover. I'm a punk rocker. I'm gonna get some flack for this in the comments. I don't like My Chem. I never have. I can't stand My Chemical Romance. I think that the introduction of them and their style of music is kind of what killed the SoCal pop punk scene, which, of course is just a bubblegum version of punk rock. So even then, it was just watered down punk. And this just sort of solidified the death of my favorite genre. But that being said, I mean, Danger Days is a fine album. That's their fourth album. That's kind of the only one I can stand behind. And even though I don't like the band, I'm going to defend them here. And I know it's blasphemous for someone of my vintage to say they don't like My Chemical Romance. But yeah, this is just the same level of just moral grandstanding that we've been hearing from the left over and over, but is now getting increasingly more common on the right. So we're going to read this article. Before we do, hit that subscribe button. I'm a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news every day. And yes, emo band My Chemical Romance surprised fans with a theatrical performance to open up their tour in Seattle. However, not everyone was thrilled with the political commentary. And look, I get what they're going for here. I get what they're trying to do. Green Day did it first, and frankly, I don't even know if they did as well, because Green Day kind of blows. But that's neither here nor there. At the end of the day, all these musicians, doesn't really what side of the aisle they're on, left, right, but we're talking about musicians, mostly left. They have this political commentary that, frankly, is devoid of any sort of actual intellectualism or even more so understanding of the political climate or of how politics works or what the general sentiment of most Americans are, especially middle America. That being said, just because these guys should stick to performing and not being political, because that never seems to work out, doesn't mean that people aren't overreacting to them being political. My Chemical Romance, who previously laid down a few rules for tour, took the stage in Seattle with a daring political message. Now, spoiler alert, it is not that daring a message. Having already read this article to see if it was even worth covering, it's not that daring a message. During the show, lead singer Gerard Way paused for an experiment. By the way, they misspelled paused here. So yeah, the Mirror US, the Mirror.com. You guys need some better editors. I can't really take you seriously, not only because your article is about such moral grandstanding on the right, but also because you couldn't spell a simple word right. Either way, Gerard Way paused for an experiment, which he called Practice of Democracy. Now, remember that's what he called this. Remember he called this a practice of democracy. The rock fans, when they arrived at the stadium, were handed signs which said yay or nay on each side. What we're going to do here is have an election. Gerard explained to his adorers that he then cast the crowd's attention to a circle in the center where 4 candidates stood. After conducting a vote to decide if the masked individuals should stay in office, Gerard indicated it was time for the next move. The onstage actors were seemingly shot execution style as they collapsed into a puff of smoke as individuals dressed up in militant gear stood by. "Thank you so much for participating in democracy," My Chemical Romance singer said. Now, look. Let's start with the obvious thing in the room. Practice of democracy. They vote, they lose the vote, they get shot. Whatever. It's dumb. It goes to show that these individuals don't understand how politics in America work, because we're not a democracy. We've never been a democracy. We're a constitutional republic, and this isn't actually how voting works. So by them trying to send some sort of political message with this, your political message still has to actually work within the realm of how the country you're trying to make that message in's politics work. So it's just an utter failure, but hey, at the end of the day, that's why you guys play guitar and sing songs for a living, as opposed to actually went into politics. I mean, Gerard Way, when he's not singing songs and dancing on screen, on stage and stuff, he writes comic books, and he writes some of the most overtly left-leaning woke comic books. The Umbrella Academy, maybe you've heard of it. It was kind of a big deal on Netflix. Also, it sucked. But his politics aren't the problem, because people can have their own politics, people can have their own beliefs, people can have whatever. This is just sort of out of touch, a sad attempt at maintaining relevance. However, fans weren't universally thrilled to see the band go woke, as they immediately began fighting about the emo group online. Weird demonic shit, a fan at Facebook said. Another added, people are just fucking twisted. How old are you people? Like, y'all remember Marilyn Manson? Did you see any of Marilyn Manson's videos back in the 90s? Like, I defy you to watch the Beautiful People music video. Or what was that one song where he's like, where Marilyn Manson's naked and he has like fake titties and shit? Like, they blamed Columbine on Marilyn Manson. Again, let's take it back further. Let's go back to the 70s. Alice Cooper with his whole fake guillotine stunt and shit. Like, Alice Cooper actually got banned from playing in certain states and certain countries because of his shock rock aesthetic, because of some of the stuff he would do on stage, which again wasn't really that bad. I mean, I've been to some metal shows, I've seen far worse, but hey, 70s against 70 was a different time, more conservative, things like that. And all this with Alice Cooper again being a born-again Christian. So the people that are selling their My Chemical Romance tour tickets because they're doing this like low-level shock rock stuff, that is some basic bitch behavior. That's some straight up beta shit. And I'm sorry, you don't get to spend the last 10 years online calling the left snowflakes. If this is how you're gonna react to just again a theatrical performance of a band on stage, regardless of how retarded and non-indicative of actual politics it really is. The political undertones and commentary on modern democracy prompted some bands to sell their tickets, opting out of the band's tour. Plus, online, some fans explained that they were only casual listeners of the band's music, leaving them stunned when they witnessed the stunt live. Now, this part I can believe. To be fair, this part I can believe. Look, Mike Kim, they're a household name, but they're a household name for one song. Welcome to the Black Parade. Yes, I get it. They had other hits that other people might know. You know, Teenagers, Na Na Na. What was that one with the girl's name in it? I'm completely blanking on it. But the point is, they had some other hits. But by and large, their most famous song of all time, everyone knows and loves and remembers, was Welcome to the Black Parade. So yeah, I can imagine that the majority, maybe not the majority, but many people buying these tickets, they want to see the Black Parade song played live, and like that will make their experience or whatever. And you know what? That's fine. But if you didn't do the research, or if you're not a real fan of the band, or you didn't know what you're getting yourself into, I'm sorry, that's on you. In response, diehard fans rolled their eyes, disappointed to see the public wasn't aware of just how political MCR really was. After all, the band was formed due to Gerard's reaction to witnessing the 9/11 in person. A fan on X wrote, the amount of people who went the first stop for My Chemical Romance complaining they'd become woke and the show was propaganda. Hi, you new here. Have you not listened to the Black Parade album, the lore, and the theatrical shows? Now, to be fair, I don't think the Black Parade album is a good indicator of their political values, because unless I'm mistaken, the Black Parade album is about getting cancer. Like, it's about like cancer treatment, dying of cancer. I could be wrong. Again, I don't like My Kim. I remember 2005 just as much as anybody, and I remember going to the mall and dressing in all black and wearing chains. In fact, I still have a lot of those clothes, and frankly, some of them even still fit me. But that's neither here nor there. As a guy in my 30s, yes, I remember 2005, and I remember when this was all the rage. But I don't think that the Black Parade was overtly political. But what do I know? Again, I don't like the band. Another said, in utterly fascinating news, old white people are selling their tickets to My Chemical Romance because they're too woke. I'm literally gesturing to everything they've done in confusion. I don't know why you gotta throw white people in here. Like let's keep it real, folks. Let's keep it real. All My Kim fans are white folks. And also all My Kim fans are probably old at this point. Like, bro, if you were 18, 19, 20 when My Kim made it big, you in your fucking 40s now. You in your mid-40s, if not older. Yeah, almost. Mike Kim's fan base isn't the teeny boppers of yesteryear anymore. They've all grown up and had kids of their own. So yeah, to say old white people, their fan base is going to be old, and or at least a majority of them are. And they're an alt-rock goth emo band. There's definitely going to be white people. I don't imagine I'm going to find myself in Harlem and hearing a bunch of hood rats talking about how much they love My Chemical Romance. So, yeah, if you're shocked My Chemical Romance political stuff, you've ever listened to Danger Days, referencing MCR's fourth studio album, like much of their music, the album takes a theatrical approach. It's considered a rock opera which is set in the apocalyptic California and explores the concept of corporate corruption. Again, corporate corruption, That's not really necessarily political, at least not on the left or the right. Like, I think we can all agree crony capitalism's a problem in general. You've got corporations out there, left, right, center, the whole nine, running governments, doing, terrible shit to consumers. So, if you want to call it political, it's so surface level. And again, I actually think Danger Days is their only good album, but that aside, look, Green Day did this. Mike Kim's done this. I think Blink-182 even got to the point where they were doing this, or if not, bands in that circle. So I don't know what these guys were expecting. The band's previous, perhaps most famous album, The Black Parade, similarly held a lore trope running through it. The album, which explores the story of a man, dying from cancer, largely is renowned for its impact on alternative music. The Black Parade was played in entirely in the Seattle show as the expectation of the rest of the tour. And moving forward, fans online are generally excited to see if the political messaging keeps up, speculating on how the lore could develop. One fan wrote, I think if MCR keep doing the execution act of their shows, with people adjusting their votes based on the last show, it's going to end up being used to show in a dictatorship. You might have the illusion of democracy sometimes, but in the end, rulers do what they want. And you know what? It's fine. I mean, again, I still think it's theatrical and doesn't really understand the politics of America, but that would be interesting. I like the headcanon that fans are coming up with. So yeah, at the end of the day, I don't know why this is being touted as a controversy. I don't know why people are selling their tickets because of this demonic display. Bro, these are musicians. Like, I just went to a baby metal concert, and they're talking about fighting demons and the fox god and that sort of stuff. Like, oh no, because I'm openly Christian, should I have not seen baby metal because they're praising fox god? No, it's performance art. I mean, you can't be taking shit this seriously, especially not when you've been, as I said before, chastising the other side of the aisle and chastising these snowflakes and these wokies and these lefties and these liberals and whatnot for being overly sensitive, especially because, at least based on the article, there's no delineation between, like, who's on the left and who's on the right, or if that is part of the act, it wasn't mentioned in the article, so I don't actually know. I could be very much wrong, but also, if it does have a delineation between the left and the right when it comes to people that are being voted for, well, these are Mike Kim fans. Like, overwhelmingly, the people in the audience are going to be voting for the left-leaning politician and having the right-leaning politician shot. Again, I don't fucking see a problem with this. It's not like they're out there making actual terroristic threats like we have seen some bands do. Like, we've actually seen some bands and groups, specifically like European bands, not just showing support between Palestine and Gaza, but like actively calling for the murder of Jews because they're that pro-Palestine. Look, when you've got artists out there doing that about a real conflict with real circumstances, with real consequences, I'm sorry, Mike Kim handing out some signs and being like, oh, vote, and then theatrically killing off some actors. Bro, that's no big deal. Quit being these sensitive little bitches. If you want to talk about how good and great and strong the right is or whatnot, then shut the fuck up and just let performers perform. Sure, criticize it, whatever. But you spend a lot of money on these tickets. If you like the music, go for the fucking music. Like, it shouldn't be that hard. But I don't know. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts. Let me know in the comments down below. These are my opinions. This has been Words of Paradise. Check me out on Instagram at wordsofparadise_Leon and become a member for $4.99 a month. You can join the Discord, choose the articles I go over on the day-to-day basis, choose the videos I react to on the Friday night live streams, and of course, hit that subscribe button because it's all here in the Nerdosphere, and this has been Words of Paradise.